there, fellow travelers. Mark here with Wolters World, and today we're in the Bellavista cloud forest here in Ecuador. And today we're going to talk about is safety in Ecuador, because a lot of people have asked when we told them we're coming to Ecuador, Mark, is it safe to go to Ecuador? And I'm going to tell you, yes, it's safe to go to Ecuador. We're here with our kids. We've seen other people bringing their kids here too. You're going to see if you're bringing your kids, it's probably not too bad. Now, having said that Ecuador is safe for travelers to come to, there are some issues you have to deal with, just like anywhere else in the world, okay? So what I've kind of done is kind of divide this up into 3 safety areas that you might want to think about before you come here so you can be better prepared. And those are in terms of like medical safety or health safety reasons like that, driving safety, because that's one of the big things here, and then there's the criminal safety when people think of more traditional safety kind of stuff. And so we're going to go through each one of those, okay? Now, the first safety issue I want to talk about is this medical safety, the health safety. There are some health issues you should know about when you do come here. And one of the things you got to realize is you don't drink the tap water here in Ecuador. I don't care where you go, you don't drink the tap water. When you go to the hotels, they'll probably give you bottles of water for free. And a lot of the hotels will have like a big jug of water down in the lobby that you can fill your water bottles up with. And I honestly, Johnson's like, man, I wish I would have brought my favorite water bottle here so I could fill it up. Do that and keep it filled up because you need to stay hydrated, okay? One of the reasons why you need to stay hydrated, if you're going to go to the highlands or in the Andes, so like Quito or going to Baños for the adventure stuff or going to Cuenca, is altitude sickness. This is a really big one because a lot of people, they fly into Quito, relax in Quito for a few days, then go to the Galapagos or the Amazon or go explore more. And Quito is at 9,000 feet, okay? Airport's like 8,000 feet. The city's at 9,000 feet when you're going to go around. And altitude sickness can be an issue when you are here. So make sure you're not planning anything big for that first day so your body can acclimate to it, okay? If you do get altitude sickness, you're going to have nausea, headaches, like really bad headaches. It's tough to breathe sometimes. And there's a lot of hills in Quito, so you're like, oh, yeah, I know I'm out of shape, but I didn't think it would be this bad. That's the altitude, so you got to really be careful with that. Another thing is we're on the equator, hence why it's called Ecuador, okay? And on the equator, the UV rays and the sunbeams, coming down, they're super, super strong. So you really need to make sure you're bringing sunblock, like strong sunblock, and applying it every couple hours, no matter where you are. And the thing is if you're in Quito or here in the cloud forest, it's chilly, okay? I'm wearing a jacket in multiple layers, and you're thinking, I won't get sunburned when it's chilly and it's cloud covered. No, you will. The UV rays are very strong here. Now, when you're down in Oriente, which is the Amazon part, or if you're going to the Galapagos, you're going to be on the coast. Man, the sun, you feel the heat, and you can get very intense. So keep yourself hydrated, but do be careful. Bring a hat for yourself. All kinds of things. Another thing to worry about are the mosquitoes when you do come here. Now, if you're going to be in the highlands area, okay, if you're going to be in Quito, Cuenca, like that. Those mosquitoes there, you don't really have much to worry about. If you're going to go to the Amazon, you're going to be on the coast, then yeah, make sure you got a lot of mosquito repellent to keep the bugs away so you don't have a heads up for that one. Another kind of health issue you might see is a lot of people when they go out to the Galapagos Islands, they take a cruise. You got to realize you're on a cruise, and if you get motion sickness or seasickness, you can have issues with that, so maybe have the Dramamine or get the bands or something like that to help with that. We actually have a video specifically on altitude sickness and another video specific for seasickness. So if you do have these issues, watch those videos so you can be better prepared and talk to your doctor before you come. Another health issue or health thing I want to talk about is actually, since you can't drink the water here, you want to be careful with fruits and vegetables if they're making salads for you and stuff. I try to keep it to fruit that has a thick shell or an outer coating, let's say, and having that, so bananas, plantains, you're going to be fine with stuff like that. Lots of melons and stuff, it's really good. But do be careful. And you know what, if you're at a market and you want to have hornado, which is like this pig they've roasted, and they'll put the hornado down, then they'll throw some salad on top of it. Say, no salad, I'm okay? So do be careful with the salads and washed fruit and stuff like that, so you need to be careful, okay?
So in addendum to my travel tips for kids in Ecuador, I just want to mention quickly food allergies, because that's always important. There are peanuts in some things, so you need to, like always, get it written down in Spanish. Make sure you understand and know and are able to communicate the severity of a nut allergy or any other allergy you have. Always, get that stuff written in local languages. So another thing, we don't really have a problem with mosquitoes and things in Quito and Cuenca, and even really here up at Bellavista, not too many mosquitoes because we're up high enough that there aren't a ton. But there are in lower lying areas, so do be ready. Have your citronella and your bug spray and things like that. And those little wristbands. Those wristbands are great. Liam has very sweet blood. Everything attacks him. So sometimes I put a wristband on both his wrist and his ankles. So be ready for those things too, okay?
Now, my next safety thing is one that's probably going to scare you the most when you do come here, and that is driving in Ecuador. There's a lot of safety issues for tourists that you need to think about, and one thing I'd want you to know is being in Ecuador is very, very cheap. I'm not saying affordable, I'm saying it's cheap. So you can hire a driver to take you around, hire a guide for a really great price, and for a lot of times it's worth it just to have a driver to drive you through the crazy traffic that's here and the crazy roads. Now, the main highways, they're fine. But if you're going to be going on the back roads, you're going to be coming to the cloud forest, you're going to go to the Amazon and stuff like that, you're going to have these windy roads, okay? Thin, skinny, windy roads with big trucks and semis on there. And oh, that's a petroleum truck that says it's going to explode if it gets hit. And why is that person crossing in front of another semi? It gets kind of hair-raising, okay? So do take your patience when you drive here in Ecuador, okay? So be careful because those roads and the driving can be a bit aggressive sometimes. More because people get tired of waiting behind, because lots of hills and mountains, they get tired of sitting behind some big truck, so they go for it. And so you do have a lot of accidents here, so do be careful, okay? Another safety thing with driving, if you are going to be going around, don't leave any valuables in your car. I don't care where you are in the country, don't leave valuables that people can see in the car. Take it into your hotel room, put it in the safe, have it there, okay? Now, another driving safety tip is they have a lot of rumble strips or speed bumps around Ecuador. And the thing is, these are serious speed bumps. These are like you hit it and you like launch kind of stuff. So make sure you're paying attention, and because there's a lot of them out there. And if you're driving at night, which I don't recommend, but if you are driving at night on the highways, they'll pop up, and if you don't notice them, they can almost knock you off the road. So do be careful with that. And then my last kind of driving safety issue I talk about is if you're a pedestrian, realize that you don't have the right of way. I don't care if it says you can walk. You have to always pay attention. You might wait a few minutes just to cross the road in some towns because the cars are not stopping for you. Pay attention to what the locals are doing and when they're crossing, because that actually is one of the most dangerous things I have seen here. We've seen a guy on a bike get hit when we were in Quito, and there's all kinds of other near misses, so do be careful with that, okay? And the third area I want to talk about is actually the criminal safety issue. And I know when people think about going to South America, they get really scared about the crime and stuff like that. And I'll be honest, I've traveled and I've lived in South America for a lot of time, okay? And I'll tell you, there are the issues I talked about beforehand, those are much more likely going to affect you than the crime elements. But you still need to be careful when you do come here. And just like anywhere in the world, if you're going to be in the big city, going around Quito or Guayaquil or things like that, you want to make sure you're paying attention when you're downtown. All the tourist sites, you be careful. There might be somebody that slashes your bag here and there. When you're on public transportation, make sure you got your stuff in front of you. You're paying attention to those things, okay? Because there are bad guys out there, just like everywhere else in the world, but have a heads up for that. I know I mentioned make sure you leave nothing in your car that's of any value. That's even if you're doing a day trip and you're doing stuff, make sure your stuff's with you, okay? Or your suitcase might be okay in the back, but you got to be careful. Make sure your passports are safe and your money's safe and stuff like that. Even if you park your car where there's people that are watching your car, doesn't mean people aren't going to break into it, okay? It's not like that guy's watching it with the red flag, nothing bad will happen. You need to be smart about it, okay? Another thing to be smart about are the taxis here, okay? Don't just hop into a taxi here in Ecuador. Have your hotel or your restaurant or your eco lodge or wherever you're going, have them call a taxi for you, so then you know it's a legitimate taxi. Or if you're going during the day, go to the taxi line and get a taxi there. Not some taxi off the street, not some random taxi going by. Make sure it's an official taxi that you're getting in, just for a safety reason kind of thing. The thing that's cool is the taxis here are so cheap that you can be safe doing those things and using that, but make sure you're getting a real taxi, because going out late at night, you do need to be careful, especially on the coast. Stay in the historic centers and stuff like that, because there are bad parts of town, just like everywhere in the world, okay? And taxis can really help you out, but make sure, walk into a restaurant, a hotel, just say, hey, could you call me a taxi? The people here are super nice, and so they will help you with that, but do have a heads up, okay? And the last thing I'll probably mention is if you're on the north near the border, there have been reports of some issues near the border. I haven't been there, so I haven't seen anything. I don't know anything. personally, but that is something I have heard, so maybe take care in that area. Anyway, I hope this helps you feel better about coming to Ecuador. Yes, there's safety things everywhere in the world, but in general, we found Ecuador to be very safe. The people are super friendly and helpful, which makes it a lot better and a lot less, creepy kind of stuff, so you will have a great time here. If you want to learn more, the don'ts of coming to Ecuador, things that'll shock you in a good way about coming to Ecuador, check us out on our website at woltersworld.com. We're also on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and we really appreciate your likes, subscriptions, and if you like travel videos like that give you honest travel advice, not scaremonger tactics or backflips with the drone footage, please do subscribe, and we put out a new travel video every Wednesday and Saturday. So I'll say bye from Ecuador, and have a great time here. You have a safe time, and you'll have a great time here. Bye.